Coming up on Sportsource, it's the story of Elijah DeWitt and how other high school programs can respond to such incidences.
It's North Oconee and East Forsyth in the matchup of the week, the keys for both teams to come out on top on Friday.
We walked 100 yards with Jamie Dukes, the athletic trainer for Athens Academy, to find out how he's serving collegiate and high school athletes in the Athens area.
Clark Central is less than a week away from their flag football debut. I have more on the package.
Good evening. Welcome to Sportsource. I'm Zeke Palermo. Tonight we've got stories about high school sports in and around Athens, but first, an update on the death of former Jefferson wide receiver Elijah DeWitt. DeWitt, age 18, was a senior who played for both Prince Avenue Christian and Jefferson High School in his football career. He was shot and killed on the evening of October 5th outside of Dave & Buster's in Gwinnett County. Two teenage suspects, Chandler Richardson and Kamari Bryan, were arrested in South Carolina last week and were denied bond by the Gwinnett County Magistrate. DeWitt's mother told media outlets she does not believe that her son was friends with either of the suspects, but he may have known them informally. The case remains under investigation, but our Kennedy Weems has a chance to learn more about what the death of a team member means for coaches.
Thanks, Zeke. Yeah, the Jefferson High School coaching staff certainly is not alone in this situation. I talked to another head coach who went through a similar incident in 2019. I talked with a fellow journalism major, Landon Jackson, who owns LJ2 Lit Media, where he often captured video of DeWitt.
Just seemed like a kid that was hyper-focused. He really knew what he wanted to do. He was very tuned in with his teammates.
This is not the first time an incident like this has happened and impacted a high school program. So what does a coach say to his team after the death of a player? Head coach of the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets, Lance Hilton, had a football player pass away in 2019 and was tasked with restoring the faith of the athletes. Looking back, there is one thing that he has learned.
You know, I think that the number one thing is every day, make sure you're telling your kids you love them, because you don't ever know, honest to goodness, from day to day what's going to happen.
Coach Hilton also mentioned how important it was for other coaches to reach out during their difficult time, and that is exactly what is happening now at Jefferson, as tons of coaches, student athletes, and others have sent their condolences.
We try to talk about safety all the time. You know, we try to talk about making sure we've got our I's dotted and T's crossed as far as making sure we're keeping the main thing, and that's being as safe as we can.
Even 4 years later, the death of Jordan is still an elephant in the community in Jeff Davis County. The death of Elijah DeWitt will be the same for Jefferson.
Hard for everybody, you know. There's so many people that he's connected through, whether that was directly or indirectly. So the community was hurt by it.
From Jefferson, Georgia, I'm Kennedy Weems reporting for the Carmichael Sports Media Institute. On Wednesday, Jefferson High School held a memorial service for DeWitt. He is survived by his parents, Craig and Dawn DeWitt, and his sister, Delaney. Back to you, Zeke.
Thank you, Kennedy, and a real tragedy that is. Tonight's game against Flowery Branch will be Jefferson's first game without Elijah, so I'm sure the Dragons sideline will be full of emotion. Prince Avenue Christian, where DeWitt played his junior year, honored him in their 42-35 win over the undefeated Baylor School last week. Players wrote his number on their wrist and ankle tape or threw up that number too after big plays. We will take a short break, and when we return, we'll hear from our analyst Michael Doty about his matchup of the week and one player from that game with quite the pedigree. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
And study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Your home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Sportsource. I'm Zeke Palermo. We've got analyst Michael Doty on standby, ready to talk about the Athens area game he deems matchup of the week. Michael, what do you have for us?
That's right, Zeke. We have a special game brewing under the lights tonight over in Bogart. The top two teams in Region 8 4A square off in Titan Stadium. It's the North Oconee Titans hosting the East Forsyth Broncos. This is a classic battle between David and Goliath. After a 2-8 inaugural season, Coach Brian Allison has something special brewing with East Forsyth in year 2. The Broncos are off to a 5-1 start this season and 3-1 in region play, but now they head over to the home of Goliath. Now, Coach Tyler Arendt is building a juggernaut at North Oconee. The Titans have won 12 region games in a row, and dating back to last season, they are 15-1 in their last 16 games, including a 16-0 start to this season. However, Coach Arendt said he isn't overlooking this team.
This is a bigger matchup for us in terms of we're both playing really good football right now, and like the last 3 teams that we've played have been playing really good football when we've gone into that ball game. So it's pushed our kids. You know, they really haven't had a chance to take a breath over the last 3 to 4 weeks.
Aren't never one to take an opponent lightly, and his boys will be tested again this week. Michael, what kind of game do you predict for this evening?
Well, it won't be a high-scoring one, I bet. Both of these teams have very similar play styles. They run the ball and they play sound defense. Neither one of these teams give up a lot of points. As you can see, North Oconee is only allowing 7.5 points per game this season. East Forsyth's defense has been even stingier this season, giving them only just under 5 points per game, with 3 of those ending in shutouts. And if you want to start fast against either one of these teams, well, you can't. That's because both North Oconee and East Forsyth have only given up 7 points before halftime all season. So offensively, both of these teams had success running the ball. North Oconee's Dom Elder was a first-team All-State running back a year ago, and he's shown up when he's been called upon. But it's actually the quarterback, Max Wilson, who has been the most impactful on the ground. If you recall, 2 weeks ago, Wilson ran the ball 5 times for 154 yards and 3 touchdowns, including this 57-yard touchdown that officially put the game out of reach.
I do remember that touchdown, Michael. It was quite an exciting game that was. But can you tell me a little bit more about East Jackson? Started 2-8, but right now they're region contenders. How did they manage that?
Well, it's been no secret what has been the key to East Forsyth's resurgence. The Broncos have relied heavily on senior North Forsyth transfer Brandon Peoples. Peoples leads the way with 661 yards on 99 carries and 6 touchdowns. He's gone over the century mark on the ground 3 times this season, including a 22-carry, 165-yard performance against Cedar Shoals, where East Forsyth entered the game as 35-point underdogs. Here's what Coach Arndt had to say about stopping him.
Yeah, you're just going to have to play sound and play fundamental defense. We're going to have to do some things to mix it up a little bit on defense, to give them some different looks. But the style of play is the key. If we can continue to be physical and play with great effort, that'll always give us a chance.
Now, it's worth mentioning both teams have only allowed 1 100-yard rusher defensively all season. So if moving the line of scrimmage proves to be difficult, North Oconee has another weapon that East Forsyth just simply doesn't have, a guy named Khalil Barnes. Barnes, North Oconee's dynamic wide receiver and defensive back, had his best game of the season last week at Cedar Shoals. He had 4 touchdowns, scoring 3 different ways. 2 in the air, 1 on the ground, and 1 pick six. Now that last one is significant because recently Barnes decommitted from Wake Forest and is looking for a new home at the college level. He just got an offer from Notre Dame and North Carolina yesterday, and he's also got offers from schools like Purdue, as well as other ACC schools like Georgia Tech and Duke. But he has his eyes on the big one, and that is number 4, Clemson.
Since early February, really. So just having that bond for that long, knowing how the staff is, Coach Hunter, Coach Dorman, Coach Khan, who's like the main guy kind of recruited me from there. So I trust them. They have a really good tradition. Like they're known for being a productive and good program. So I kind of know what I'd be getting into if I went there.
Now Clemson has had 36 cornerback recruits since 2000, and Barnes will be the 37th if he decides to go there. But how does he stack up against other Clemson cornerback recruits? Let's take a look at my prediction for his floor, expectation, and ceiling. Now, starting with the floor graphic, let's go back a couple years. I'm talking Cody Sensabaugh. Now, Sensabaugh did end up making it to the NFL, but coming out of high school at Dobbins-Bennett, he was only a 2-star recruit. And as you can see, he's a little bit smaller than Barnes, a little bit heavier, pretty similar dimensions, but not as much interceptions as what Barnes did, but you make a name for yourself at the next level. Now, I think Barnes has shown he's a stronger recruit than that, so let's take a look at a more even match, and I'm actually going to go to another 2023 cornerback recruit Clemson has out of St. Francis High School, Brandon Strozier. Now, he's a 4-star recruit, also a 6A Private Region Player of the Year last year, and Barnes also has that notoriety to him as well. Strozier a little more fundamentally sound, if you ask me, so Barnes said he has to work on his fundamentals. And if he continues to work on those and go down this path, there is a possibility he could end up like this guy. I'm talking out of Westlake, A.J. Terrell. Now, I'm not saying he'll ever end up like Terrell because he was the number 2 cornerback prospect in the state coming into Clemson, but there's always a possibility if Barnes can continue to go down this path, work on the fundamentals, become a better tackler. Of course, Terrell has over 100 tackles at Clemson. Barnes only had 30 as a junior last season, but you never know in this day and age. And in the end, Barnes said he isn't modeling his game after any Clemson corner, but he did like the way Andrew Booth played. Booth is the highest graded Clemson cornerback recruit since 2000. So Zeke, what do you think?
Barnes, we've had a chance a couple times to watch him play, and he's quite the athlete and a very personable young man. 2 weeks ago, he was named Homecoming King at North Oconee. I'm excited to see whether he'll go Clemson or some other school. Either way, he's got quite the future ahead. Staying close by in Athens, the girls of Clark Central play their first flag football game in school history next week. More about that in a conversation with athletic trainer Jamie Dukes when we return.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start. The Dutch.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own, a place that I call home, this place that I call home.
Thanks for sticking around. I'm Zeke Palermo, and this is Sportsource. Not 2 miles from where I'm sitting is Clark Central High School, home of the Gladiators. This year, CCHS is fielding a girls' flag football team for the first time in school history. It's one of 4 schools in Athens and Oconee counties adding the sport this fall. Our Jaden Fields learned more about this upstarting team. Jaden?
Yes, that's right, Zeke. Right down the street from us, history is being made over at Clark Central. I have more on the story.
Clark Central is getting ready to make history next week as they prepare to debut the first flag football team in Athens-Clarke County.
GHSA already has a flag football program, but it's just a matter of asking. So I went to Coach Ward, asked him if it was something that we could do. He was like, "Who's gonna coach?" I said, "Well, I'll do it." He's like, "Well, all for it," and we sort of went from there. And I mean, I've been a previous head coach before, so it was just a matter of a student asking me asking the AD, him giving us a green light.
Asking questions is all it took for this new community to be built. And with that, Coach Pass and her team were ready to get started.
We have fun, but we work, and I think they're enjoying themselves. We're putting in the work. We have strategic practice plans. So we've been actually going since May, and we went hard over the summer. We did our conditioning during August and September, so we're going full throttle. The main thing I want them to get out of this is realizing that it doesn't take a certain gender or a certain color to break a barrier. It doesn't take a certain age to break a barrier. So knowing that they're part of the first, and Lord willing, 50 years from now, they can have their kids and grandkids come up and say, I made history, or what we've been saying, her story. So.
If anyone's more excited about getting the season started, it's the players.
I heard about it through a friend, and I always liked throwing around in football, and I generally like to be involved in a lot of sports. So when I heard it was a thing at Clark Central, I decided that it would be fun to try it out.
When I talked to Sadie, along with a few other players, winning was the one common goal they all had.
I'm really looking forward to creating connections with the other girls on the team and making like new friends and also winning. I'm excited. I've been excited for a really long time. I'm ready to go out there and show what we've been working on in practice. I'm glad that when I grow up, I'm going to be able to tell my kids that I was part of the first team.
Football is a predominantly male sport, but this experience has expanded that opportunity.
I'm the only girl in my house, and I grew up with 2 brothers, always having to play football with them in the backyard. And I think football is just like a really fun sport to play, and it's nice that girls finally get to play it at Clark Central High School. I'm most excited about winning and making history as being the first girls team of flag football at Clark Central.
The Gladiators will suit up for the first time against South Gwinnett next Tuesday. From Athens, Georgia, I'm Jaden Fields reporting for the Carmichael Sports Media Institute.
It'll be exciting to see how the season pans out for the Gladiators. Their season is a short but intense one, with the game starting next week and running through mid to late November. Back to you, Zeke.
Stuff, Jaden. And, you know, one of those other Athens area schools adding a flag football team this fall is Athens Academy. In early October, the Spartans won their scrimmage against Oconee County 13-6. A new sport for the Spartans means more athletes for Athens Academy to keep healthy. Sportsource reporter Sophie Ralph talked with someone making that possible.
Thanks, Zeke. I caught up with Athens Academy athletic trainer Jamie Dukes, who just started here a few months ago through Piedmont Athens Regional Hospital after completing his master's at the University of North Georgia. In addition to working with Athens Academy athletes, he works with athletes at the collegiate level at UGA. Jamie worked with the football team last fall and is working with UGA's hockey team, the Ice Dogs, this fall. Let's see how he's making an impact in the Athens community. Hi, I'm here with Jamie Dukes, athletic trainer for Athens Academy, and we're going to go 100 yards. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Great. So you started this position with Piedmont, or through Piedmont, about 3 or 4 months ago, you said. How has that transition been from working on your master's?
So for me, that transition was really nice because it's actually let me have a little bit more time to relax and enjoy my son's early life. Of course, with a master's, you get a lot of time that you're working on schoolwork, plus there's a lot of hours that go into getting your clinicals out of the way. So it's been really nice to have a chance to kind of relax, get into actually doing the job instead of having all that schoolwork going on as well.
Absolutely. And what drew you to athletic training as a career?
So for me, the thing that gets me the most is the development that you get to take part in with especially young athletes. You get to see it at every level, of course, but for high school athletes especially, you get to be a part of their life where you can have such a positive influence on not only their athletic health but also their lifelong health. And so for me, I get so much joy out of helping kids learn how to just be active participants in life throughout their entire life. I tell the kids all the time, it's not about getting better for Friday night or for that next volleyball game. It's about getting better and keeping yourself healthy so you can play with your kids at 45 and your grandkids at 65. Like, you really want to make sure you're thinking about that long term, and I really enjoy that.
Absolutely. And what experiences have you had so far that have proven to be the most rewarding?
So some of the most rewarding experiences I've had is kind of getting to see that kid that has a surgery requiring injury and kind of seeing them get back on the field at that time.
Alright, so we're resuming here around the 50 because you just got called away to tendon injury. Obviously, you've been involved with high school athletes, but you're also working with the Ice Dogs, and last fall you worked with the UGA football team. What has that experience been like, working with collegiate athletes as opposed to high school athletes?
So it's actually really cool. There's a lot of similarities in the sense that they're still just young adults that are doing the thing they love, right? But it's definitely interesting to see how that all comes together at that higher level, where you have a lot more resources when it comes to their health. You have a lot more resources when it comes to how they practice, what they're doing. And so seeing athletes at that level and kind of having the ability to use those extra things to help keep them a little more healthy or keep them on the field longer is super cool. Yeah.
How has working in Athens sort of connected you to the city?
Oh, it is such a city built on that local community. A lot of the coaches here I see around town. I love to play pickleball, and so it cracks me up seeing people from around town and other areas as we do just things out in the town, and it's been such a welcoming community to be a part of, so I'm super excited. Couldn't be happier.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Yeah, thanks. So glad I got to take some time. Thanks for being patient with me while I, do my job as well.
Of course. Dukes might be busy deep into the GHSA playoffs this year, as Athens Academy is currently 5-1 and is looking to finish their regular season strong. Back to you, Zeke.
Thanks, Sophie. Duke's doing important work, as are all athletic trainers. When we return, things are going to get a little spooky with the Sportsource crew. Stick around and grab your favorite Halloween treat. We've got more when we're back.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She carried 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go.
Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckle tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
And welcome back for the final leg of our show. I'm Zeke Palermo. It's just 2 more weeks until Halloween, and here at Sportsource, we can't wait to celebrate. You'll see I've already got my costume on, and myself and the rest of the crew, we're going to pick out some fun costumes that we'd recommend for certain high school athletes in and around Athens. 2 brothers as Mario and Luigi, perhaps, a speedy base stealer as a bank robber. Kennedy Weems has our first costume, and Kennedy, what you got for us?
So I picked a cross-country runner because I cannot run at all, so I love talking about athletes who can. Beck Wolf-Hardy is a junior at Clark Central High School. Every year he has dropped his personal best time, and October 8th at the Mountain Invitational in Helen, he placed first out of 211 runners. At that race, he dropped his personal best time about 40 seconds to just 16 minutes and 9 seconds. So because of his speed, I gave him the freeze from the Atlanta Braves. Last cross-country season, Wolf-Hardy finished in the top 20 in the Class 5A state meet and also won the Region 8 5A championship. I certainly look for him to channel his inner freeze and gain another championship for himself. Jaden, what do you have for us?
The freeze may bring the cold to the party, but so could my athlete. Christmas has come early this Halloween because I think Oconee County Volleyball junior setter Isabel Miller should dress up as Santa Claus. An odd choice, I know, but hear me out. According to the GHSA, Miller ranks 5th in assists in the state, and not just in 3A schools, but in all size classifications of volleyball. She got 881 assists this season with an average of 8.6 per set. So Miller is great at giving gifts with strong setups for her teammates to score. Get it? Giving gifts?
That's a pretty good one, Jaden. Michael, jump over to you. What do you have for us?
Well, I'm going to jump away from the winter theme for a moment, and I'm going to give you an athlete that really knows how to use the force. Let's go over to East Jackson, who are currently 4-3 and looking to clinch not only its 2nd playoff berth, but 2nd winning season in program history, and its first since 2009. One man can be the key to that, and that is senior running back Gary Maddox III. Maddox is averaging a clip under 93 rushing yards per game, and he has 10 total touchdowns. He would be a hero if he can get the Eagles back into the playoffs. And couple that with some pretty nice head of blonde hair, and I'm choosing Thor as his costume. Thor isn't only a superhero, but he is the god of thunder, and Maddox brings the thunder with every carry. He also has a chance to bring a large and thunderous crowd to Eagle Stadium for a potential home playoff game.
You know, that's a good one, Michael. All of these were, but I think I've got you guys beat with multi-sport star Audrey Vandegrift. She's got my pick for best costume. Vandegrift is the younger sister of UGA quarterback Brock and Eastern Kentucky volleyballer Anna Greer. But Audrey is still a super athlete, so I've got her as Jack Jack from The Incredibles. Like Jack Jack, Audrey is the youngest of the family, but should not be underestimated. She runs track and plays basketball, but she's at the best on the softball diamond. Audrey truly is a 5-tool player. She hits for both contact and power, is a lead on the base path, and has both the fielding acumen and arm strength to play center field for the Prince Avenue Christian Wolverines. Her versatility compares well to Jack Jack's seemingly infinite superpowers and was a large reason she won Area 4 Player of the Year as a sophomore in 2021. Audrey committed to Alabama earlier this month and is a crucial part of this year's playoff-bound Wolverine softball team. That's my pick, and I think the costume is a winner, just like Audrey and the Wolverines.
I don't know, Zeke. The Braves are in the playoffs, so the freeze may be a really high choice.
Actually, thanks for bringing up the Braves, Kennedy, because that's what I wanted to talk about last tonight is the MLB postseason. Thanks, guys, for joining me, and happy Halloween. The Braves are currently on the road, playing in Game 3 of the National League Divisional Series against the Philadelphia Phillies. The series is tied at 1 game apiece. While the Atlanta Braves have several players on the Atlanta area on the roster, there is a former Athens area player shining in the MLB postseason, but he's not playing for the Braves. Seattle Mariners second baseman and outfielder Adam Frazier graduated from Oconee County High School in 2010. On Saturday, Fraser hit a game-winning 2-out RBI double in the top of the 9th inning to help the Mariners complete a 7-run comeback against the Toronto Blue Jays. That win booked Seattle's ticket to the American League Divisional Series. While at Oconee County, Fraser batted .524 his senior year and set the state record for career doubles. He led the team to 1 Final Four, 2 Elite Eights, and 2 region championships. His jersey number, 11, was retired by the Warriors in 2018. Fraser was a 2021 All-Star with the Pittsburgh Pirates and has scored 61 runs and 42 RBIs for the Mariners this season. Seattle made the playoffs this season for the first time since 2001 and are currently down 2-0 to the Houston Astros in the ALDS. So I'll be keeping both on the Braves and Fraser this week. However, with that, that's all we've got tonight. Thank you so much for letting us invade your home for half an hour this evening. For our analyst Michael Doty, reporters Jaden Fields, Sophie Ralph, and Kennedy Weems, and our producer Cassidy Hedesheimer, and all the wonderful folks behind the camera, I'm Zeke Palermo. This has been Sportsource. Be good.